Let me again repeat that voting took place yesterday in all polling stations nationwide. In some polling stations where polls did not open on time, voting continued beyond 5 p.m., ensuring that all those in queue voted. At polling center code number 1614 in St. Anne's, for instance, voting went on till 11:30 p.m. and counting was done in the presence of political party agents and observers. Similarly, at polling center code 16140 Amaria School, polling continued till 10:30 p.m. in the presence of political party agents and observers. Despite the attacks on our staff, and despite the fear or threat given to us, we ensure that everybody that show up to our centers, we are given the opportunity to vote. And I especially want to thank the security sector for their professional approach to all the agitations, which were in some areas were evident. You were able to pacify voters and Sierra Leoneans to stay in the queue and went through the process. As we speak, the RRF form, that is the result reconciliation forms, are being received at our district offices. Some of the result reconciliation forms earlier received have been taken to the respective regional tally centers for processing. The rest will be transported to the regional tally centers in the next few hours. In other words, we have received some result reconciliation forms at our centers, and the tally of results has commenced. Counting of early voting ballots, this relates to the pilgrims, did not take place in the Western Urban, Western Rural, and Bombali districts due to violence and high level of tension. In Western Rural, a Delta police officer stationed at center code number 15012, IEC Primary School, Waterloo, prevented the counting of early voting. This caused huge tension, and ECSL Assistant Director had to be whisked away by the commanding officer at Tumbo Police Station. The Commission will make decision on the next step in line with this. We had indicated that we were going to count the early vote ballots at specific centers in the district where the voting took place. And therefore, the intention was to take these ballot boxes to that center to be mixed with others so that we count there. But this particular police officer created an impression that the ballot boxes were kind of had issues, or we are trying to stuff ballots, and that created supporters of political parties to raise tension, and we did not count these ballots in these specific areas. Tally had commenced in all regional tally centers since this morning. It actually started about 10 o'clock, and it is going on peacefully. The addition to the election information, deep information relating to the polls and the tallying process, let me also remind or inform the public that, as we promised, the tallying, the physical results are being used to do the tally at the districts, at the regional centers. Even though we had used our app to transmit results, but we promised that we were going to use the physical results. And we have all political parties at our respective regional tally centers, despite some level of threats in some parts, like in Poloko and in Bombali. but security have been alerted about the incident. The other issues I want to report to the public: in Bombali district, elections coordinator Abdullah Jallo was beaten along Mabroka Road in Makeni. Also in Bombali, Hassan Karim, office assistant at our office in Bombali, was beaten and seriously injured on his way to deliver supplementary ballot to a polling station that was running low on ballots. Ballot papers were retrieved intact. At the polling station code 10271, RC Primary School, Mambesene in Lunsa, Oloko District, a presiding officer was beaten for simply carrying out his duty. Also in Lunsa, Oloko District, 2 election coordinators, Umfa AS Bangura and Alex Suri, were also beaten with one of their rented vehicles with number AP A731 vandalized. Again in Poloko, a female election coordinator, Marcia Tukonte, was also beaten and she sustained serious injuries at Kabantama. At 6058 DC Primary School, also in Kwenadugu District, serious fighting took place which led to the burning of a hire motorbike. This fighting initially disrupted the counting, save for the prompt intervention of the RSLAF that ensure counting continue. Again, in Konadugu District at 6087 Center, DC Primary School, Kamukalia, our staff were attacked, a biometric ballot box broken and ballots destroyed, or simply they were doing their official responsibilities. The polling center manager at 7082 Baptist Primary School in Mabroka, Tonkolili District, who was incidentally the headmaster of the school, James Bobo Fuller, was seriously manhandled on false allegation of ballot stuffing. I think some of us saw some of these social media posting of an elderly man with blood oozing from his chest. That's the man. He's the school headmaster, and he was beaten. He was rescued by the police. His video is making round on social media. Also in Tonkolili District at Bendugu, Sambaya Bendugu Chiefdom, youth pour fear on election coordinator Ibrahim Conte, wanting to set him ablaze. He was rescued by the community elders. So these are the sacrifices the commissioners and staff went through, or the pains we went through in order to deliver our national service. And no politician will talk about those incidents. Instead, they will create fake videos and purported our staff are being involved in malpractices. But these are the realities of elections. So we are used to it. The most important thing is we stood our ground and ensured that the election went unsuffered. And we are happy from comments from international partners. At least we have passed this test and will continue to pass the remaining tests of this journey. Thank you. And I'll call on my colleague, Chairman PPLC, to come and give an update. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everybody. Or is it good afternoon? I think it's good afternoon still. The PPRC, we have been working 24 hours around the clock to ensure that we create the enabling environment that we had yesterday for the conduct of the polls. And yesterday we all saw that by way of a preliminary statement from us, our observation, because on polling day, we also become observers. We actually do not have anything to do officially other than to observe the polls. So we were in an observer status, and As I said preliminarily, we are satisfied that the elections were generally very peaceful. After I cast my vote in Freetown, I went to the provinces, started from Makeni down to Bo and Kenema, to see what was happening there. I only came back this morning. And all of the places I went to, the electorates were very comforting. And the turnout, in our opinion, was very impressive. I mean, it's outside our mandate to talk about percentage, but the lines we saw are indicative of the fact that people were determined for their voices to be heard. And so they came out in their numbers and they exercised their franchise. So we think that it was very impressive. And even the weather was very clement. All of where I went, I mean, there was no rain. The people were there, the place was sandy, so even nature was supporting these elections. And our people came out without being subjected to any rain. This is, we all know it's the rainy season. Some of us were fearful that let there be a very good weather for the pools so that people will have the opportunity. And as a commission, we know that the people have spoken. And all of us are now waiting to hear the verdict of the people through their mouthpiece, their statutory mouthpiece, who is the National Returning Officer. And from all of what we have done before now, all of the engagement we've had with our own partners, who are the political parties, very critical in the electoral process, we are very much expectant that when the results will come out, people will accept the result and respect the voice of the people. All of them were jostling for the people's mandate. So if any of them is opportune to have that mandate, we'll expect that those who may not be opportune to also show some respect to the people, to accept the verdicts they have given. And we will continue to remind all of those participating in this election, particularly the presidential candidate, of the peace pledge they signed, which was something that was undertaken by the Peace Pledge Committee through support from the Commonwealth. And in that peace pledge, they all committed to respect the electoral laws and to accept the outcome of the elections. If anybody will have issue, either with the conduct or the outcome of these elections, they all also committed in that document that they will seek legal redress. They will follow the due process and nobody will take the law into their hands. So we will hope that they will leave the commitment they signed to in that peace pledge, and people will not just sign the peace pledge because they wanted to offer political correctness. And we have also seen that quite a number of results are doing the rounds on social media. And of course, as we all know, those results are not official. As I said, there is only one person that has the mandate to pronounce the outcome of an election, and that is the National Returning Officer. So we'll encourage everybody to be patient and wait for him to tell us what the verdict of the people is, and then all of us will move on towards the development of this country. Some of those results we are seeing on social media are clearly intended to foment dissent. And I would call on our politicians to realize that they also have a responsibility to this country. They have a duty. All of us are supposed to do what we can to keep the peace and to ensure that we move this country forward. So we call on our constituents who are the political parties to continue to show the goodwill they have demonstrated so far throughout the campaign period. We had skirmishes here and there, but largely the campaign trail was peaceful. And of course, yesterday was absolutely peaceful. And we will think that they will continue on that trajectory to continue to support and respect the wishes of the people. We are also calling a press conference tomorrow to give you detailed information of our observations. And during that press conference, I think we will want to also do the same thing, calling our partners also to make statements and see how much we can do to get the politicians to be tolerant and to be accommodating. I have always referred to Peter Obi. When he lost the election, we all know the promise he held when the elections were being conducted, and almost everybody who is anything in Nigeria drew their support. But when the results came out otherwise, he didn't call his supporters to the street to wreak havoc. he took the legal path, and then by that way he was able to save his country from chaos. So we will encourage all of our politicians to learn from that example. Leadership is about self-restraint, and leadership is about selflessness. So we expect that our politicians will demonstrate this. I mean, the process has been peaceful so far, so let us continue to be peaceful and to promote the interests of our country. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. At this juncture, I want to invite the National Coordinator for the Office of National Security.
Thank you. Director of Operations, Ecsl. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm extremely delighted to be part of this Ecsl press briefing this afternoon. Of course, I would want to thank and congratulate the people of Sierra Leone for their comportment in making the work of the security sector very easy. On the basis of our national security, I'm pleased to report that the general security situation in the country is peaceful within the entire country, in spite of the isolated incidences in some parts of the country. We have, as a country, honorably discharged the period in which it matters most, when the whole world is looking at us to see what Sierra Leone will look like during this period of elections. Prior to the conduct of the just concluded multi-tier elections, the security sector had promised the people of Sierra Leone and the international partners that it would discharge its responsibility professionally to ensure the peace and security of the elections. I had reiterated this in several fora, when I did a press conference with the media, and I also met the international observers, that indeed we are going to have a very peaceful election in this country. That is based on our preparedness. As a security sector, we had actually prepared ourselves to ensure that we make sure the security of this country is peaceful, and that the people go about and vote, and nothing will happen to them. Though what the CCA was referring to, we have few isolated incidences, which maybe I may talk about that later. Of the security sector to protect our country and also be very happy to recognize the spectacular role of the men and women in the security forces and agencies. Our security forces have done very well, and therefore I must congratulate them and recognize them at this point, because in such an election where we started, most people thought that Sierra Leone was going to burn. But prior to the campaigns and votings, I think as a sector, the people of this country cannot judge us that they have a security sector to look up to protect them, in spite of the incidences that happened during the voting, where Ecsl officers were attacked, where other people were attacked based on rumors, because some of these things are rumors and perception, because people have perceptions and they do not trust the people that had created that kind of mayhem, where even people were supposed to be lighted, to be burnt. Ecsl materials were destroyed. Some boxes were carted away by some individuals. But all of these incidences happened in just one part of the country, and that is the north and the northeast. Just one part of the country. You are all testimony to know how these things happened. Before this time, there were a lot of allegations that the Southeast would not allow polling agents to vote, or they were going to beat polling agents. But I'm sure the observers who went to the Southeast clearly showed that things happened very peacefully. So, for those activities that had already taken place, the police is investigating, and they are far gone in the investigation. We are hoping that the culprits will be brought to book very shortly. Although it has been challenging, yet we have said through what could have been seen as troubling period. Coordination at all levels was distinctly excellent. For this, I commend my colleagues in the security sector for their level of cooperation and collaboration, and encourage all of us to remain firmly focused on our respective mandates. So far, reports received from across the country indicate that our personnel carry out their functions dispassionately and professionally. We appreciate the ECSL fortitude in the midst of a number of technical challenges to live up to public expectations largely. I believe our domestic international observation missions may be reasonably satisfied with the output of our collective efforts. Equally, the significance of the role and the level of cooperation from all registered political parties during the electioneering process cannot be overemphasized, even though some overstep their boundaries. It is important to recognize that elections everywhere in the world are not devoid of disagreement. However, the focus on managing and containing our differences within acceptable legal boundaries is what is most important. There is always the procedure, the law. If you think you are aggrieved, you don't go to the street to do unlawful demonstrations. I would love to encourage everybody, when the results are read, if you think you are aggrieved, go to the court. But when you choose the pattern of going to the streets, as a sector, we will not sit by and allow anybody to disturb the peace of this country. I have said that severally, and I'll continue to say that. Investigations into grave electoral infractions reported to the Sierra Leone police are at an advanced stage. Those who would eventually be found culpable, I repeat, will also be brought to book again. I would like to entreat all of us to remain patient until the ESL announces the final results of the elections, and those who would win to celebrate modestly and within the confines of the law, while those who lose must respect the decision of the electorates. People must desist, especially political parties, from announcing results. It's only the ECSL chairperson that has that constitutional role to announce results. We are standing by to ensure that anybody who attempts to announce results before the ECSL announces their results, you also face the full penalty of the law, because it's a crime And therefore, we will not sit by to allow people to announce results and get their people in the streets. I'm using this medium to warn all those. I'm seeing some audios and videos coming out of somebody who are talking as if that they are going to announce results. As a sector, I'm warning those people who have those intentions to desist forthwith. Anyone who feels aggrieved to seek redress using the court of law. Anyone who feels aggrieved, I want to repeat this again. I want to repeat it so that people can understand clearly. Because we're not too far, maybe 48 hours from now, I don't know what may happen. So people who believe they are aggrieved must use the court of law. I'm emphasizing this because of good reasons. The areas that the ECSL mentioned that these people will be attacked, there are some critical areas which maybe these are very serious areas, like Tonkolili. In Tonkolili, they almost wanted to light the ECSL officer, to burn the ECSL officer. And the person who directed that is also a personality, which is not too good for our electoral process. The boxes were carted away. In Lungsha, the same thing happened. The ECSL people was destroyed and the individual beaten. The police officer was also beaten, the female police officer, and they were also beaten. You see, this is the area where sometimes people want to ask questions or say statements to say the police is being high-handed. I'm sure all of you can attest the fact that this election went peacefully without hearing the sound of a bullet. Nobody was allowed to fire a bullet because this is a civil election. Is about civil business, and because it's a civil business, we wanted the police to take preeminence over it, the privacy. But irrespective of that, you have civilians who took upon themselves to be attacking the police officers, to be attacking ECSL officers. For us, that is most unfair to us. However, we requested them to exercise some patience in reacting. That is why you saw there was no tear gas, there was no bullets out there for anybody, because we thought this should be a civil process and everybody should take part. If there was bullets, some would have been scared to go out and vote. But the turnout was very high. But to me, I think it's one of the highest turnouts in this country. The people who are very high to vote. He says the chairperson said I should leave that to him. But because of those miscreants, those hooligans, who thought they should take upon themselves to attack other people, that's unfortunate on the part of those, especially those political parties those people belong to. Moving forward, we have already repositioned ourselves at the tally centers to ensure that the tallies are done peacefully and results sent to the ECSL HQ. As I'm talking now, all of those areas, we have our security personnel. And we are also moved into the areas where they are where the polling took place to support the ECSL to ensure that those ballot boxes are brought to the regions. That's currently being done. So as a sector, We are again appealing to everybody, as we have done before the voting, that we must cooperate with the security sector, work with us for us to go to the end of this process. We want to have and to see a peaceful conclusion of this process. Announcement read, people jubilate. And let others join them to jubilate, because it is not going to be a one party. Everybody will be winning. It's not just one political party winning. Everybody, Sierra Leone will be winning. It is Sierra Leone. So take yourselves in all political parties that Sierra Leone will be winning and not an individual political party. And the security sector will remain with you to protect you and provide the enabling environment even after the elections. I want to thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir. At this point, we are going to take a few questions from the public. Mr. Jones will coordinate that. Mr. Jones, please.
Thank you. Joseph Egbenda Kapua is the name. I work with a public broadcaster. Now, this may be probably for the ONS. Listening to the litany of attacks on, polling stations and staff of polling stations, particularly polling center managers, one would see clearly semblance of lack of adequate security, especially for staff of the Ecsl at these centers. Reports reaching me also indicate that a few protesters are standing outside Ecsl regional office in McKinney with placards shouting, "No projection, no counting." Now, if we have seen attacks on staff at these centers, polling stations, we've seen polling center managers dragged, beaten all over the place, what security apparatus do we have to guarantee safe counting process? Thank you.
Asma James, a journalist. To Mr. Commissioner, now we hear about projection all over the place. Can you please clarify the issue about party, the political parties are asking for the results to be projected? Thank you very much.
I'm going to buy a report for AYV. First question is for the ONS coordinator. There were reports yesterday about firing of gunshots at some polling stations. I want to know whether that was something you captured as part of your security updates, and whether people were arrested and how investigation is going. And secondly, Mr. Commissioner and National Returning Officer, when will the Commission start announcing results of the elections? Thank you.
Yes, my question is for ONS, Pastor Coker. Can you confirm that there was no death yesterday?
Hi there, Portia Crow, AFP. For Mr. Kone, can you confirm that there are party agents from all parties inside all the tallying stations right now, presently? Thank you.
You don't? All right. Yeah, we can respond to this.
Mohammed Bango, publisher, Capital Times newspaper. Mr. Commissioner, at polling center 16-14-8, St. Anne's, polling could not take place yesterday. The allegation was the voter register was not available. And this brought the attention of the IG as well as other security personnel. And even with their intervention, voting could not take place. I want to know if that is aware by the commissioner or the Ecsl. That is one. So there are claims of gunshot yesterday at Bethel Center as well as Kaikele Center at the eastern part of Freetown. Do you aware of that also? Thank you.
This question, my name is Patrick Salia, and I work for the state broadcaster, SLBC. My question is for the Office of National Security Coordinator. You just warned against premature announcements of results. Already, if you go through, I just asked the PPRC boss a short while ago, if you go through the official accounts of some of these political party officials and their cohorts as well, you realize that they are already claiming victory, landslide victory, for that matter. Landslide victory, and you've just warned against those premature pronouncements, because the figures may not have been there, but them claiming landslide victory underscore that especially. How would the owners respond to those claims?
The first one from the SLBC Director General, it was asking about the lack of adequate security in some of the polling stations, and that was maybe the reason why those attacks were done. I will categorically say no, it's not correct. There were security personnel in most of the polling stations. Now, I have told you, election is a civil process. We have refrained from putting security personnel in those stations with lethal weapons that was scared of people. So what happened is, a general duty police officer was there with other police officers, but they had no weapon. The ones that had weapons are far off. And here you are talking about a crowd of people moving to create mayhem. And all of these instances that happen in this town and even all of the other areas, you had a crowd of people moving with maybe just few. And for this particular election, we used close to about 17,000, I guess, officers in almost all of the police stations in the entire country. We had the RSLF. They are there to support the SLP, but at a far distance, at a far over 300 meters off. That's the law. You should not go closer to the police station. So all of these things that happened, it happened because we wanted it to be a civil business, a civil affair. All of it could now be less in slant moving forward. But it was not because of lack of security that these people were attacked. In most cases, the attack took place spontaneously. You know, where they were, for instance, where they had a mismatch of a voter register. They want to take that voter register to go and bring a new one. The crowd became agitated. They thought people are going to cheat. They thought people are going to do. The people are suspicious of everything. That's pigment of imagination that these people want to do this and that. All of those things that's created some of these attacks in some of these areas. But I will categorically say that we have security all over, everywhere. The people can attest to that. that there were security presence everywhere. The other one, somebody's talking about gunshots. Say whether they have gunshots. I don't know whether they were gunshots, really. I never heard about gunshots. Because for some of these things, we have a national situation room. It should be reported if there are gunshots. So for me, there were no gunshots. I had no gunshots. There was somebody asked for me to confirm whether there was death yesterday. Yesterday there was no death. No death occurred. But just this morning, the fellow who was attacked in Tonkolili, alongside with another person, I was informed that he died just this morning. Before coming here, I got that information. He was mercilessly beaten by the attackers just this morning. You know. The claims of counter claims for the announcement of results. The one you are seeing, I'm also looking at, some of them are posted on social media. Some of them are for me, we look at social media, we monitor social media, but we react to them. When you practically want to do what we said you should not do, that is where we can come in. All right? Because sometimes people make statements, and then when you go to their WhatsApp page, they will tell you somebody else has used my WhatsApp page. You know, so there is nobody to compare whether somebody else or somebody used their what, or it is themselves who do the thing. So for us in the sector, we will continue to warn people. Yes, they have the right to put it in there if you want to put it in their WhatsApp pages, but they should not announce results. Nobody should announce results. The one you are putting out, those people you are putting out, that is left to you. But the figures you are putting there may not be correct. You know, it's a question of announcement. Like when I saw one audio, somebody say he wants to organize a press conference. Nobody is going to organize a press conference in this country to announce results. We don't have a right to do that. The moment we know you are organizing a press conference, we make sure nobody sits in that room. Nobody sits there. That room. So, it's like Patrick, I want to assure you that the question of premature announcement, let's wait and see. We have warned people, and even before the election, we advise people also not to go to the streets. When you vote, go home. Yesterday, we are everywhere trying to talk to people. All of these areas they are talking about where this crisis took place, we visited all of that place yesterday. Myself and the team, the IG, the CDS, and our other colleagues. Even at St. Anne's. I was at St. Anne's yesterday up to 11 o'clock. We had to let the people vote. They will say you have to vote. I don't like to vote yesterday. There was some problem, but we had to. That was amended. You know.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. You know, when the security personality is talking, you see, it talks, you know, with force, so that everybody will understand what that means. For us in the electoral space, we talk slowly, but firmly, and assure the public that everything will be fine. Before I respond to the questions, let me recognize again my brothers on my right. These are all electoral management, head of electoral management institutions in respective countries. I have here the chair from Gambia, the chair for Electoral Commission for Tanzania. To project results, I think projecting results are all part of technology. So that's contradictory anyway. However, we did not plan to project the tally of the results as a process. I know people are referencing what we have been doing during the by-elections. We only have one few stations to manage elections. We have been doing projection since I came in, but for this magnitude of result that we have to process within a given time, it is practically impossible to have projector that we provide the entry of the results of 8 or so personnel who are entering at different times. What we had promised before, and they know the procedure, that we will print out the results, which will be certified by the district returning officers, and will give them copies of the results. And they are there. I can also confirm that all political parties are present at our Tale centers. We gave them allowances of 2 political party agents or observers to be present at the Tale center. They are all there. Watching from my CCTV. I can see even international observers are also there. AYV, I saw AYV as well, and some other media houses. So the process is very much transparent, and people are enjoying the process. I also want to inform the public the ballot boxes are still at some locations which they are retrieving to the district offices. I was particularly reminded about this from my director of operation because of the experience he had. I think, was it 2012? He was mobbed very seriously. After the poll, the following day, he went to retrieve ballot boxes with some materials, and they thought that was the ballots, special ballots, stuffed with ballot papers. And he was saved by the police. So I just want to use this media to inform the public our staff are still retrieving materials from the field. Results, I'm sure all results are now at the district offices, and staff are moving with them to the regional center. Please don't see any of our staff carrying a ballot box and you start shouting that they are carrying stuffed ballot boxes. Please. So as I mentioned, we are not doing projection of the tally as the process results. Announcement of results, provisional, you say, or interim results. I will come back to that. I have to go back to my staff to know the extent to which they have tallied the results. And once we get reasonable percentage, we'll call press briefing to announce what we have gathered so far. And we really want to expedite the process. And we want to see how best we can do that so that the politicians who are already claiming victory, I'm asking them to wait, because what we have received is not official. And I know you want to appeal to your political supporters, but please wait. The Constitution gives me that mandate. At least this one time, this one few days, let enjoy and small. Of course, St. Anne Police Station, it's not true voting did not take place. It took place. That's the station I read from my statement. Voting ended in that poll at 11:30 yesterday, and the ballots were counted, and they will form part of the results. Yeah, we had series of issues from one problem to another, to the extent our staff, the temporary staff or the hard work staff, left the station. One of the stations, we had about 7 stations. 6 went on, and the last one there was nobody, so I have to pull my directors to go there and supervise the voting. So we were able to conclude that. Of course, parties claiming victory, we have told them they don't have the power to crown themselves. If they had that power, they should have done that long ago without even going to the polls. So let them wait. We'll give them the figures. Any other question? One more set, please.
Ibrahim Kurma is my name, Executive Director of Citizens' Rights Networks Radio, a civil society. This goes to the Chief Electoral Commissioner, Mr. Kone. My observation is, while they are moving these boxes to another census. You have any representative from every political party that will move together with those people? That's my question.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Marcos Bangura, the managing editor for C4D Media newspaper. This election has been accompanied with huge lots of suspicion and distrust. And this has led to a lot of problems. During the day, that is yesterday, there have been a lot and lots of delays on the distribution of electoral materials that gave rise to suspicion and distrust. Don't you think if you had put things in place to take those materials on time, a lot of people could not have developed that suspicion and distrust that led to the attack on Ecsl officials?
Thank you. I'm Tijan Jalo, and I represent the Times SL newspaper. During our visit yesterday, in most of the polling centers, there were concerns raised by electorate, voters themselves. One has to do with the presence of political parties members who are not supposed to be in those areas. There were concerns of politicians holding pistols, intimidating voters not to go and vote. We had that issue at Loradov School. There was a vehicle with registration number 8285, and there were ballot papers in that vehicle. Members of the public had to intervene, and the issue brought the attention of the Rosswood Police Station. They engaged the LUC on that one. Also at Lower Savage Square, there was an issue. Members of the public had to rush in to intimidate some of the ESL staff who were there. When we interviewed the ESL staff, told us what politicians went there to interrupt the process while they were doing counting. So I had to take upon myself to call the LUC to send security officers to go and manage the area. Lower Service Square, yes, was also an issue. And just like what my brother said, Marcos Bangura, some of the concern raised by people were distrust and suspicious as a result of the delay in the transport of election materials. Like for Amaraya School, when there yesterday, there was an issue of delay in voting process. Voting did not start till after 2 p.m. We were there, and there was high military presence also there. And to the security sector, what we saw yesterday was a kind of professionalism by the military, the police, and other security apparatus. Because even when media practitioners go into those centers, we were accorded, we were accommodated to visit each stations and centers with our identification. We were not intimidated. We were allowed to take photos and other things. With exceptional cases, we are gunshots, we are fire. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
My name is Sahid Hands of Hope Radio. So yesterday there was an incident at Allentown, Faith in Christ Primary School. One of the ECSL staffs, I think it was the PO in Station 8, Station 8. I don't know how to call it, the ink was dried, so one of the voters volunteered that I get dry ink na me lago kautam, like the blue that they use to wash clothes. So he allowed the guy to go and take the blue ink and brought it. So when they came with the ink and they were trying to mix the ink, one of the opposition party members, the agents that were there, saw the incident, and then he caused an alarm wherein stating that there was some funny issues going on. So before the whole incident happened, they called the police. But when the ECSL staff saw that the issue was going out of hand, he threw the ink behind the window of the classroom. They couldn't get access to him. Are you guys going to help this particular staff that knew very well that he shouldn't have to help him to mix it? How are you guys going to help this particular individual in that police station?
Thank you very much. Sheikh Mustafa Power, Global Times. Now we don't know when the results will be announced, but it is possible for us to know how much percentage of the tallying that has been done.
Mohammed Kone is the name. I work for Standard Times newspaper.
Yeah, so many of us. Don't get jealous. Go ahead.
Okay. From the incident that happened yesterday, I want to know if there have been any arrests since yesterday. How many arrests have been made to the ONS here? And again, you talk about people not to announce results. But if somebody goes on social media and announce that we've won A, B, C, and D, how do you describe that? Because we are talking about those announcements put on social media are not your business. But how do you respond to that? If somebody goes on social media, put an audio announcing the results, how do you respond to that?
I think one more. We have to come to the end of this press briefing, yeah? We have a lady.
Fodi Moyoba Conte, I write for the Calabash newspaper. National coordinator, you keep saying that there were adequate security personnel in all of the polling stations. But according to the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion report, they said that some of the reports received by the commission was the aspect of inadequate security personnel in the polling station. And the Group 7G again, Observer Mission, few hours ago in their press statement also made mention of inadequate security personnel in some polling stations. So I would like to know on what grounds do you stand to say there were adequate security personnel in all the polling stations. And secondly, the commission also observed that there are several emerging post-election tensions across the country. How do you intend to handle such kind of cases?
Okay. This is the last set of responses we have. We have subsequent press briefing. Political parties are not accredited
Africa Media. And if you just join we did live at the Bintumani Conference Center. Usai, the Electoral Commissioner for Sierra Leone, Mr. Mohamed Konowakone, don't address the press as well as international observers. We want to continue for the Watch TDN Africa Media as we know there since for make sure say when I get the independent, credible and unbiased news. Already we still there inside the Bintumani Conference Center. And we want for more to continue for the Watch TDN Africa Media as we there so for the the latest on the elections reports.
And we don't know say like tomorrow we'll get for continue back and the ECSL commissioner make them known to Farmville MC. They only go release elections results where they don't get some required amount of percentage where they will able to give out to the public day. And one for ensure say una stay tuned to TDN Africa Media as we bring una live updates on all things that happen at these elections here. And the thing where the commissioner back stress on a report on say like some ECSL staff that may get difficulty yesterday, and it acknowledge say the voting process not start early yesterday due to some one or two reasons then. And we see Usai people maybe get an opportunity for ask questions then where the commissioner may get for answer. And Amadou, so far and waiting you don't see her today, we don't see observers in there and waiting at the thing mostly like we caught you high today.
Well for me with the one we caught me high the most it would be from the security sector. Me and you two know say there were so many challenges regarding security business in the capital city of Freetown yesterday, especially with the elections when they go out. But we see say most of the allegations then, or where people get evidence of the ONS actually dismiss them particular claims then did. And we just hope say the ECSL they set the ONS they do this in the favor and in the interest of the citizens of this state, because when it comes to security business, anybody thinks a joke not for day about it. Exactly. And the security also need for be sincere with guiding and, the people.
People ask the ONS boss several questions regarding the security yesterday because we get journalists that will get evidence of so many mishap we happened yesterday, and then self-ask question because the ONS boss may therefore say like gunshots we are not fired.
Of course, we really say that.
But people still ask questions like say they gunshots.
Yeah. All right, Fambo them. If you just join me, this na TDN Africa Media, and we've been on there live na the 2023 election shuffle up where they na the Bintumani Conference Center na Aberdeen, and we will give you updates from the ECSL. One for the Fambo them know say always continue for the Watch TDN Africa Media all about the elections. Then our YouTube and we Facebook page. Just go on our page, you will get the latest on election. We wait on the report to you from these parts. My name is Amadou Esba.
And me na Franklin Williams. Just continue for stay tuned to TDN Africa Media as we go now live report on anything they happen at the election until they release the final results, and we'll continue for going updates so far.
Thank you.